I'm coming back to this after I think about a couple weeks off. So it's been a while, and this is a day where I have to do several recordings. I've already done two recordings. The first of those two was the second half of a recording. I had to split up into two sessions. The second one went way longer than I thought it was going to be, and this is not even the last recording of the day. I have one to do after this. So, oh dear, it's just really getting squeezed in. Um, but I'll do okay. So we left off with okay. This is where I'm gonna mention the spoiler. So if you go back to the beginning, the very first episode of this Let's Play, you would have heard me say that I've gotten spoiled on two things. On the first of these two the Great Ace Attorney games. So there's two. It's like it was two games. They're kind of smashed together into one package. I didn't get spoiled about anything on the second game, but on the first game there was two things. One was I saw a few seconds of the gameplay of the very beginning, which turned out to be the part where Ryonosuke raises his hand at the beginning. The second was, I don't know why, what I was researching, but I encountered a topic on Reddit. Again, I don't know what I was researching, so I don't know how I got here. Some internet rabbit hole. About whether or not this game was any good. And somebody posted that the ending is unresolved. And it's unresolved in such a way that it begs for a sequel. Now, I personally would consider that a spoiler because I can use that information to draw conclusions. However, the person who posted it probably didn't think so. The reason why that suddenly became relevant is because this fifth case picks up where the second case left off, or is related to it. As Inspector Gregson is gathering up everything, all of the personal belongings of Magnus McGilded. But the second case ended off unresolved as well. We didn't know who the culprit was at the end of the second case. So we're picking up on an unresolved case, but based on what I was accidentally told, we may not resolve it yet again, and it might be strung along into the second game. And so it tempers my expectations as to finally find the answer to what happened, to who killed the brickmason, and why Magnus McGilded died, and what exactly is the curse of the Reaper of the Bailey, and whether or not it's a real thing, and so on. But this can twist and turn all sorts of different ways, so the way it could cliffhang could be any sort of thing. So, don't want to get too ahead of myself. I'm really excited that Gina Lestrade's coming back because she was a very entertaining character. So we got Gina Lestrade somehow had an overcoat from Magnus McGilded that was black, and in the pockets of that overcoat were three music discs, the contents of which are extremely important to Gina. And Gina pawned this, maybe because she needed the money, but that's not the best explanation because she had the money when she came back to redeem it. And maybe because she wanted to keep it safe, make sure that someone else didn't steal it from her. Because she knew that somebody would want to steal it from her. And it's true, somebody did. Now, they didn't end up succeeding in stealing it from her, unless they managed to sneakily make off with two of the three music discs. Inspector Gregson got it all. He got the overcoat, and as far as we know, all three music discs. Just kind of showing that I remember what happened last time, even though it's been over 2 weeks. See, that's why I ate grown-ups. That pun would not exist in Japanese, probably. All they do is feed you a pack of lies and take stuff away from you. Haha, feed you. Oh really, Miss Lestrade? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm? Wait, she still has the overcoat? I thought Gregson took it. Maybe Gregson just... Oh, maybe I don't remember what happened last time correctly. Did Gregson just take the music discs? Yeah, it seems like he took everything based on this dialogue I'm reading. So, yeah. Well, whatever. What? Oh my, surely you were given that. Yeah, the D let me keep it after I looked daggers at him for long enough. Oh, okay. I get it now. It went through the pockets and then said go on, then have it, before telling me to scarp her. Always pays off giving people a look like I ate them. I can't help but feeling that it's going to get you into serious trouble one day. What I really wanted was that nice Shauna disc mind. The music box disc? But Mr. Windibank said it was practically worthless. I think I'm gonna go have another bash, give him a long, hard stare. I think not, Miss Lestrade. You shan't enter Windibanks again today. Why not? That's not fair. It can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement from Mr. Windibank. But the disc's mine. I had the ticket for his coat, and it was in the coat's pocket. And there should be something else on all. That's what that rotten cove said, ain't it? Yes, he did mention something about another article, didn't he? Well then, that's mine too. Whatever it is. Now she's really pushing her luck. Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day. Yeah, and it's all your fault, Sholmes. I don't know if it was necessarily Sholmes' fault. I mean, you would have ended up giving all of them to that white-coated guy. Otherwise. The overcoat still has a hole in it, by the way. So, what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening? Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a modest violin recital. Nota. Oh. Why would I come around to your place, eh? Have you lost your head or something? Oh dear, she's gone. Having reviled on me quite unnecessarily, I might add. I can't help wondering if perhaps she might turn up anyway. Interesting. That's basically game speak for she will turn up anyway. Once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come. Very well then. I'll inform ours to set a place for our potential guest at the dinner table this evening. And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later too. Sorry? I believe I'll have a rather splendid surprise to show you. Oh, how exciting. What is it? It's a surprise, Susato. Yet to wait and see, Miss Susato. Until later, then. Oh, it's a desert of examines. Okay. Ah, Susie and Runo, come in, come in. Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Oh, don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time already. Busy as always? I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening. Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you? Oh yes, after all, we have a special guest joining us. Does it involve a lot of chopping? That's usually what makes it so that it takes a long time to cook. But anyway. I mean, if it was just a slow cook thing, it would have just been cooking. Not necessarily time consuming. Guess who it is. Go on. Hehe, you'll never guess. Look at those little eyes of hers shining. Oh dear, it is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it? Oh, Guinea, isn't that exciting? What a surprise. Yes, that's wonderful news. Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea. I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional. Yes, that does sound like fun. I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. That's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo? By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to? Early? Oh, he's been like that ever since he got back. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry? I don't know what you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here. I don't know how to respond to that. I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything. Yes, I see. Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does. Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they? Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are. What's the matter, Runo? You have ever such a funny look on your face. No, it's nothing. I know what it is. Why does this girl live here with Mr. Sholmes, you're wondering? Am I right? How did you know? This is Ace Attorney, where, I don't know, women are telepathic. Runo, I can read you like a book. This girl is dangerous. Don't worry, you can ask me anything. I won't mind. Now this really is Mr. Sholmes' faithful performing partner then. Stradivar, the Scrappy Scar, the Scrapifarius. No, it's no good. It's gone. The Virtuoso's violin that he found in a pawnbroker's had managed to buy for next to nothing. After all, we went through to get it back, he's just cast it aside on that chair. I was looking forward to hearing the beautiful sound it makes when Mr. Sholmes plays it. It does look rather sorry for itself there, doesn't it? Although, at least Wagon High hasn't attacked it yet, even if his eyes are saying it's only a matter of time. So, Mr. Sholmes, what are you so engrossed in? Did you not hear? I am not here. Of course you're not. I can't think why the whole bed of the ocean is not one solid mass of oysters. So prolific the creatures seem. Ha, he won't even turn around and look at me. It's best just to leave him alone when he's in one of his moods like this. Yes, I can see that. Okay. I won't do it again. So by Guinea, you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from the McGilded case 2 months ago, right? Yes, who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Although after that trial, I invited her back here and we had dinner together. And now we're the best of friends. Oh, hee hee, what a lovely tale. Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can. Oh. And I chase after her down the back alleys. Interesting idea of friendship. And then I let her have the latest color of smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. Nice detail, it's the British spelling. There are so many beautiful colors in the world. Guinea wants me to make a whole rainbow. I suppose this means you've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you? Yes, that's right. I've got bored of it anyway. Hurley always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it now. Poor Hurley. Oh, I can't wait for Guinea to arrive. It's been so long since she last came over. I'm so excited. I just hope she does actually come. Some weird machine away. I'm sure you've been wondering why it is that I live here with Hurley, haven't you? Well, it has crossed my mind that and where are your real parents? My mommy and daddy aren't with me anymore. Music stops. Mommy passed away when I was born. And around the same time, my father, well, he had to go to a faraway land because of one of the cases he and Hurley were working on. Oh, wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley? Is he in India? Wait, is your dad Watson? Yes, Daddy and Hurley were always solving mysterious cases together. She didn't mention that before. He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's what's in the metal chest over there. Really? He recorded them all? So you mean it's true, Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of the most taxing cases. Oh yes, I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it? So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father. Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. But that only made me want to look even more, so I opened it up. And found your father's memoirs. Yes, so I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell off his chair. But then he told me, that's when I found out about the author of all those accounts. Was my father. So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner. I've practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So it came as quite a shock. When Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy, I mean... Wait, you thought he was your father? I must have done. I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh. Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say that his ways have rubbed off on me. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. Right. Is that going to be a gameplay mechanic later? Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, actually. I'd actually assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories. Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he solved the case, it all just vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day, it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he just solved. So, the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. It was quite a shock for everyone. You can say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study so that I could earn a doctorate as well. Iris's father, who went to some distant land, and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Here's the thing, like, you could... The game relied on... Of course, I didn't remember this at all. The game relied on the vast number of characters to obscure when you rehear a name. So some shame in me not catching that, but then... Gee whiz, I don't remember names at all, so... This would get me. You wouldn't predict I'd be able to get this one. So you figure out he lived longer. This is like a Ever 17 situation. It's like you figure out that he lived longer than you thought he did, but he's still dead. He just died a different way. Or died at a different time. That's right. Because that would have happened, like, not near long enough to be, like... Long enough to be when, what's her face? Was a child. And so I can't even remember names like that, even. Anyway. That's right, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yuma University. And the man who, in the most bizarre circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan. Right in front of me. Miss Susato? Yes? Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time. I think that would be for the best. Oh, my dear fellows, how good to see you. Eek, Mr. Sholmes. Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Ah. Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really? Do tell, Mr. Sholmes. Is your violin unscathed? My violin? Whatever are you talking about, my dear madame? Oh, never mind that now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows. Oh, another music box disc. No, not another disc, Miss Susato. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence, Mr. McGilded's disc. Oh my. Then, what is it doing here? Simple, I just didn't hand it over. You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo. I think that though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may well be even more adept at larceny. Oh, that would be wonderfully excited. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runo could be your go-to lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Plus, Susie has such beautiful handwriting. She could write all our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted. I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. I will take in that whatever it is of Mr. McGilded's. Down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh yes, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did, but I still don't understand. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars. Like this. Oh, so he didn't actually steal it. That's amazing. The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, that caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant to melting, the result of a precisely controlled solution. How extraordinary. Carrying a pair of these in one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press and its unique form is duplicated. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without high sucrose nourishment. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I am most curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played. Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes, what music does the disc play? Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea? None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't mean Bruno. Inside a music box is a special metal piece called a comb. That's what produces the sound. Okay, so I presume there's going to be some very, minute theory I have to point out in a trial about this. Small protuberances plucked at different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music boxes to be invented used a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it. But over time, a new type of player was produced, using discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide all around the globe. Why exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There is a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result. It's so wonderful to be able to enjoy music even when no performer is present. But it is the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. Ah, I see. So that's why... Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. Results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. It could just be really bad music. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. Every single one? That's Hurley for you, always taking things too far. But, my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant into my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes. That is certainly true, in the worst case. I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? Maybe the secret to the music box has nothing to do with the tune it plays, it's just an arrangement of the protuberances on the disc itself, like what shape it makes or something. Magnus McGilded, not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Is it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows, still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the trust about the murder in which he was so intimately involved, the truth, was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in the trial, the newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case. That's because it is. The murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed. Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Guinea will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Despite AI being a game, I didn't remember earlier that her name was Iris. Oh well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie, there's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you may be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windibank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mysteries lies dormant in my storeroom. Were his words, I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh yes, the idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Windibank's storeroom gathering dust. My dear madame, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. And what about Mr. Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure? Well, there may be the occasional mix-up, caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Marksville story, Hurley? Oh, it sounds so exciting, The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should have read it. Ah. Guilty! What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill to sweep through the room? Susie, what did you just say? You said the Hound of the Baskervilles. But how could you know the full title? Well, that's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. Aruno, the Hound of the Baskervilles, has never been published. What? When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why he said that he'd keep it safe. Until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see. So that's why the manuscript is at Windibanks. And yet, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? Ah. Are we going to do a deduction on Susato now? It would appear our guest has arrived. Miss Lestrade. This was a bad idea. I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going. No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris? Oh yes, just wait here, Guinea. We'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please make yourself at home. Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. Let's say you some Mendelssohn. I won't take no for an answer. Let's see if he actually butchers this. Mendelssohn it is, then. Okay. That evening, Iris prepared a solemn meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome. And Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves well into the night. Okay, we didn't actually get a recording of Mendelssohn embedded in the game. Yeah, I think that one is. Anyway, I can't. That was like definitely not on the 12 notes of Western music. That was very enjoyable. That was I cannot like think of a pitch and then sing it remotely. Okay, that was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Oh yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine, and I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now. Best of all, I bet I could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. Haruhodo-san, could I consult with you about something? I wonder... What's the matter, Susato-san? It's about the telegram I received. Here we go. The one that arrived the first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. For jury duty? Summoned, what do you mean? The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Strongheart has asked to see me. The Lord Chief Justice? When? Tomorrow morning. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. No, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. Just me alone. I've been summoned alone. Alone? What on earth for? She gonna be the defendant. That would be so cliche and classic. Of course she's gonna be the defendant. I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Yeah, but the background music isn't really chuggy, so... who could that be, I wonder? Good evening, friends. Iris, hello again. Gina, too. Yes, Ginny's going to stay with us tonight. She's going to sleep with me. Isn't that right, Jeannie? Well, yeah. Something's gonna get stolen. How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea. You know, I've learned so much today. Oh, what? In particular? All those things Ginny showed us, wasn't it wonderful? You mean all those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we? I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it. You might not be getting ahead of yourself. You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. So, what brings you up to our humble quarters at this late hour? Well, you see, I came to return this. Wait, what? That's mine. Oh, however did you? I told you, didn't I? I have a natural talent for it. Oh yes, I'd forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius. So anyway, here, you can have it back. Now that I really understand why you wear it. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though. Thank you. Alright then, good night. Yes, good night. That's it? That was lame. There's something more to this conversation. Yeah, I knew it. So this is your office, is it? Wait, is Iris going to be the... If Susato is the accused, then is Iris going to be the assistant? I think I wouldn't fancy my chances with a lawyer what lives in a place like this. Yes, me too, haha. It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about. I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript. Yes, I suppose she probably does. Okay. Bruno, what are you doing? Look, I'm not gonna steal muffins, alright? It's all junk anyway. Charming, I suppose I should engage our guests in conversation, really. Oh, okay. Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you? Aren't you going to tell me? I'm so sorry. I need a little more time, please. Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward. Oh no, not at all, Iris, not at all. I don't know what all this is about, really, but... It's a story you made up, is it, Iris? This mental script, or whatever you call it? It's not exactly a story that I made up. It's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I've mentioned it to you before, Guinea, but my daddy was Hurley's assistant once. His partner. Eh. They solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. Is this right, mister? Apparently so. I was as surprised as you are, though. And Daddy wrote all the details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. So where's your old man now, then? He's had to go away on urgent business to a faraway land, and he'll be gone a very long time. So I've never really met him. Oh, right. Come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. Iris, this Hound of the Baskervilles story. I take it that it's another tale inspired by your father's accounts. That's right. I thought it was fascinating. But it's different somehow. From the other cases, I mean. Oh, how? I don't really know, but it must be special in some way, because after I'd written it and I showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that. It pains me you'd have to say this after you've toiled over it for so long, Iris, but this story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances. But why not? It's one of my best works. I'm not at liberty to say, not now, so please do not ask me. Alright then, I won't. I do solemnly swear that I'll explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. And that's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Windibank, isn't it? Yes. Hurley said it had to be somewhere very safe. That really gets my goat, that does, is treating you like a child. It's mean, that's what it is, keeping secrets like that. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. If he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must have been a very good reason. I think so too. You lot are too trusting for your own good. But you can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris, I bet my life on it. What? Hurley's lying to me? I've realized I don't know anything about your parents, Gina. I ain't got any, have I? Never did have. Oh. Look, the East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we're born, not even our mums. But we all stick together. The older ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by. So that's why you're a pickpocket. Yeah, diving's my life. I love it. I got a kick out of every time I lift someone's pompous idiot's purse. Whoa. That's how we all afford to eat. I'm like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it. Oh, Gina. I do think about it sometimes. What would it be like to have parents, I mean? It always thought it'd make everything right. I always thought. But I haven't listened to what Iris just said. It sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. Oh. I mean, if you know you never had him, you don't feel like you're always wanting to meet him. It's true. I do want to see Daddy so much. Oh, Iris. Gina, what do you mean when you said that you know Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris? Well, I reckon he popped that mantle script or whatever, right? But come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish. Oh my, why would you think that, Gina? It's simple. If that story was really in old Windibank's storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words you, could know about it. Ah. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, has sold it. Without telling you. But Hurley would never do something like that. I'm sure of it. Ha! Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Bare-faced liars, and a lot of them. Just grow a beard and Gina will trust you. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See? Oh, I don't mean that I think he sold it. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. You wouldn't think he sold it because his face went white. Like that one particular manuscript. So it's not the conclusion you would come to. But you would think that there is something special about where it is. It's not necessarily at Windibank's. Because they just raised that whole quandary. Even though it's wrong for me to doubt him. Don't be hard on yourself, Iris. Oh my goodness, look at the time. Come along, Guinea. We should go back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, will you? No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina. You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning. I insist. Oh, yes, please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night, then. Iris, it sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult, but deep down she's still just a child. Well, I think it's time that I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san. She is into a bad situation. Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father, but also the name of the murdered visiting professor at Yume University. It can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. It always takes a while, but eventually the Ace Attorney game's plot starts to thicken up. Starts to get nice and putty-like. Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo. That voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. What's going on in the middle of the night? It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina? She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? She doesn't have a home. I think not. From speaking to her before she retired, I received the distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfast with Miss Susato. No, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour, oh. If you'll indulge me, look out at the window, my dear fellow. What's this about? body? Is Miss Lestrade gonna be the victim? Oh dear. Yep, they're the clothes. Where? Why is there a light at this time of night? That's Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery. Mr. Windibank's. Oh no. It's simple. If that story was really in old Windibank's storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, it sold it. Without telling you. Now that would be nasty. If she did that, and then she stole it out of Windibank's storeroom, and then she's like, yeah, see, I was right, it's not in there. Oh. It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry, oh no. No, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate. By the way, do I think that's what's going on? No, the chances of that are like 5%. At once. Mr. Sato. Where'd she just come out? She just came out of nowhere? Door to Windibank's. It's open. And the lamp is burning. It must be Gina, mustn't it? Let us hope it's nothing more sinister. What? Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside. There's no one here. Oh yes, there is. Ah! Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Sholmes! What the? Has Sholmes been shot? Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. But after them, go! Right. Blast. I've lost them. Hello, what do we have here? The alarm was just raised from this pawnbroker, sir. Would you know something about that? Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot. Shot? With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Windibank's.
Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Naruhodo!
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry! It's Gina!
he's gonna be the accused. From that moment, Windibank's pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn before I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B. Oh, Iris. Telegram came, but all it said was, "Wait at home." Oh yes, we asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back. When I woke up, I was all alone. Hurley and Ginny were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Bruno? Poor Iris, she's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know. Something awful has happened, hasn't it? Yes, I'm afraid so. I want to get that. No, don't examine anything. It's spring at last and the weather is warmer now, but I love the smell of the fire and the steam rising from the kettle. Oh, how about some tea, Bruno? Thanks, Iris, but I'm afraid I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susato-san makes me from time to time, and Iris's unique herbal infusions, this place is a paradise for true tea lovers. If you're sure, you know I always have plenty of whenever you're feeling thirsty. Oh, we gotta do shovel and spades with Iris. That spade has been here since we started renting the place. Bruno, that's not a spade, it's a shovel. Ah, you're a shoveler, aren't you? I had a feeling you'd pick me up on that. Oh no, a pick is something else entirely. Now I've dug myself into an even deeper hole. So this is the tea set that Miss Susato brought with her from Japan. Let's hope she hasn't noticed me slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's just so bitter. Susie's lovely green tea has had quite an impact on Hurley, you know. He stopped putting milk and sugar in his coffee even. And Hurley is normally bitterly opposed to bitterness. We've only been here in London for 2 months, and my desk is starting to look a little messy already. Hurley's desk is far worse, you know. I'm sure if I try hard enough, I can make my desk as messy as Mr. Sholmes's. I wonder. You don't think I can? Well, it takes a certain genius to reach that level of disorder, you know. The path to true mess is long and arduous, it seems. Do you know, I've never seen inside Miss Susato's room. I haven't so much as put my head around the door. Oh, Susie often invites me up. It's so much fun. Really? What's her room look like? I can't tell you that. Oh. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. Where have I heard that before? I suppose some things are the same the world over. Oh, this looks like a telegram. It is, but you mustn't open it. No, not under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. Now then, let's see. No, what did I just say? You mustn't open it. Don't worry, I won't. With this special concoction I developed, I'll be able to see through the envelope without having to open it. No, that's not allowed either. Oh, but I'm sure it's something important. Little geniuses sure can be mischievous. We're rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind here. The prawns we put in there are doing rather well, and the anemones too. Apparently, tanks like those were very popular in London before I was born. Oh, you mean they're not anymore? I think people discovered it was too much effort to clean them out and change the water all the time. I believe that. Prawns and anemones are fun, for a while. Okay. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windibank is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning. Oh, yes, I had a feeling. You did. When I saw all those police carriages pulling up outside his shop. So I knew something must have happened there. When we entered Windibank's in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of 2 thugs. They ran out onto the street and I chased after them, but they got away. So it was one of them who shot Mr. Windibank, I suppose. I don't know, but that's not what the police believe at the moment. Oh, why not? They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina. Ginny? But why? Well, the thing is... No, Ginny wouldn't do something like that. I know. None of us think she did it. And why have they arrested her? I'm sorry. There was nothing I could do. I don't understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair. What about the 2 thugs that were at the scene? Why weren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't they? No, I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris. This is all too horrible. The thing is, Mr. Windibank was found on the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposited articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside. I see. But he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well. Oh no. And according to the detective who was investigated afterwards... Don't tell me there was no one else in the room? Yes, exactly. How did you know? It's the only explanation. Yes, the only explanation indeed. What does that mean? What do you mean by that, Runo? Well, what can I say? I'm damned if I agree and damned if I don't. Where's Hurley then? Is he still there investigating the scene? He really ought to have some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals. I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to the hospital this morning. What? Well, when we entered Windibank's, a gun was fired and took a bullet. He took a bullet. Hurley was shot? No. It's alright, his life isn't in danger. Really, are you sure? Where is he now? Which hospital? He's at St. Sinners. St. Sinners? They're attending to him there. I must see him at once. I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't. Why not? That's not fair. He's a family member. I should be allowed. I'm a family member. No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see. To operate? Oh, poor Hurley. That would be kind of a big deal at whatever era this game is set in. Don't know what the antiseptic practices in this era. It was the 2 thugs that were in Mr. Windibank's shop. They shot Mr. Sholmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After them. Go. After that, I ran out into the street, but... well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry, it's my fault. I let them get away. I think that's a very good thing. Sorry? Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, they would have shot you too. You might have been shot as well, Bruno. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that. Oh, Iris. There's Susie, Runo. She's still at the police station. Oh, why? I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while. Yeah, but doesn't she have to see the Chief Justice, though? Why aren't you there, then? Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Mrs. Sato stayed behind at the scene to tend to Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later. Ah, I see. Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to me leaving early. You should have let me know, and I would have come to the station. I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment, but I can at least try to find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on. I want to go too. Take me with you, Runo. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting. I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder, but I don't want to leave her all alone here either. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me. Oh yes, I'd love to. Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed. And don't forget we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation. I can see you're ready for action. I imagine Iris would appreciate getting to the hospital sooner rather than later. Crime scene first. This is where it happened then, last night. That's right. The two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place looking for valuables. But apart from the policeman in here, you wouldn't know anything had happened. There's no sign of a disturbance. No, you're right about that, actually. In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking. I know what you mean. They're like a gang of unorganized criminals all dressed in black. Oh, I heard that. Oh, Inspector, good morning. You're not dressed in black, so you're okay. Yeah, I suppose I ought to thank you for your vigilance last night. We got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame you let the two rogues get away, mind. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I thought you'd assigned extra men to the beat around here, Gregsy. Now look what's happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty. I don't think you'd want the police that on duty. Ah! Your ladyship. No one told me you were coming. I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley and see he has the very best medical care. Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are tending to him as we speak. And I don't think it's Runo's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job. Absolutely, your ladyship, as you say, ma'am, as you say. The gent in black is totally blameless. Everyone's in agreement about that. Would you believe it? He's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change. Where are me manners? Are you thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps you'd like some juice? Some nice refreshing fruit juice? Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Gregsy? I have some of my special herbal tea with me, if you'd like some. Ah, lovely. Thank you very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. I don't even recognize him like this. Police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article, but that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're stiffing through it all in shifts at least, but still. We've been working through the night, that's for sure, and even then we'll barely have scratched the surface. Crime in a pawnbroker's. Must be every policeman's worst nightmare. If every copper's worst night, it's every copper's worst nightmare, you know, a crime in a pawnbroker's. Alright then, let's see what we can uncover. Wait, what do you think you're doing, Sunshine? You can't touch anything in here. Oh, but we were hoping to investigate. This is a crime scene, for Pete's sake. No touching. That's the problem, Greg, see? Bruno's a lawyer, you know that. Oh, I'm very sorry, your ladyship. Ever so sorry. The rules and regulations are a thorn in my side. Of course, if Mr. Naruhodo was to have been properly appointed by the accused, that would be another matter. The accused? If you could show me some representation papers, I'd be only happy to let you nose around. Did you hear that, Bruno? You need Guinea to sign some representation papers. Looks like representing the detective here with the correct paperwork is the only way. Okay. So how's the investigation going, Inspector? Nothing to it, really. Very simple case, this. There's some very definitive evidence. We're just about to charge that diver we arrested last night, in fact. Gina, you're going to charge her. That's right. Should be able to bring her before the judge at the Bailey tomorrow. Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me. Your ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid. Ah, I see. You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you? What the? And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you? How could you... Ow! How could you possibly know that? I had a feeling, that's all. Remind me never to try to keep a secret from Iris. So you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Sholmes, have you? Well, yes, they were rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat. And Miss Lestrade is being held at the prison. She should be. That's assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition? Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. HIPAA. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential. Well, I know he's being operated on at St. Myers. St. Sinners. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know. I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's the hospital's policy, no visiting at all. Oh. The bullet must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood. Oh no. He didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so, but a hemorrhage like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pipe down. Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know. Well, anyway, we're having emergency surgery right now. They gotta stop that bleeding. But will he be alright, won't he? They'll be able to make him better? Well, like, I need some blood. No. Of course, your ladyship, he'll be as right as rain before you know it. Really? How'd you know? That's just what you say. How do I know? Because, of course, yes, because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective. That's why. We better pray the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well again. Oh dear, please don't die early. I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operating theater. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector. What? Out with it, Sunshine. Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris. Watch the sauce, Sonny. I'm a copper and I don't go in for favoritism. But he's right, you do treat us differently. It's because of those Adventures of Hairlock Sholmes stories, that's why. Oh, I crop up in him, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregson. Oh, well, yes, because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's. What did you write about the inspector, Iris? I don't remember, really. I was one of Sholmes. It was one of Sholmes' lines. Gregson is the smartest of the Scotland Yarders, is how he put it. Oh, did I write that? As you know what that one line did for me, eh? The very next month, my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you. Oh, that's amazing. All because everyone at the Scotland Yard reads them. They read all the Hairlock Sholmes stories. They've even set up a fan club for me. Of course, that explains everything. It was around that time that she became such a toady to me. Can you blame me? And all it'd take is one bad word from you and Sholmes could change his tune about me. Gregson? No, the great detective will say. He's getting quite overrated these days. Think what would happen to my salary if that came out in print, eh? The whole thing gives me the willies. I can't tell you how many nights of sleep I've lost worrying about it. But that would never happen, Gregsy. Every month when the new Rance magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn the pages. Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves. Ah, lovely. This really hit the... Teetoadal. Yeah, there's something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, what is it? I've got an important message for you. I clean forgot about it until now. This is from Susato, right? An important message. I wonder what it could be. Are you going to tell me what this important message is then, Night Inspector? Yeah, it's about that young lady who's normally by your side. Your assistant. Dear Susie, is she alright? No, she dead. She's at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe. Nope, not anymore. She had to head off. Head off? Where? To the, Chief Justice's office, right? To Lord Strongheart's office, of course. He summoned her. Ah, yes, of course. I'd forgotten about that. One of the whipstocks took her there in a Scotland Yard carriage after he'd finished questioning her. But she asked us to tell you she didn't have the fare for the return journey and to go and meet her there. She's got a nerve using Scotland Yard as a bloomin' messaging service. I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector. Why did Susie have to go to see the Lord Chief Justice? She didn't tell me. But I better head over to Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away. Okay. Yes. No matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow. Do you think the place is oppressive? I think it's normal. How so? I mean, look at that suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you? Maybe it thinks the same about you. So everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust? Yes, thank you very much. There they are, Susato-san and Lord Strongheart. Wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious. Very good. There is nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt we have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland. What did he just say? Your return to your homeland? Susato-san? You were not supposed to be here. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. What was that all about? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, thank you for coming to collect your colleague. What was that all about? Or what were you talking about? Why were you talking about Mrs. Sato's return to her homeland? I'm an eavesdropper. And tomorrow. Tomorrow? But what about Guinea's trial? You mean... she's been formally charged now? Oh dear. Oh, I've always dreamt of sitting in a huge desk like that and looking important. Why don't you try it then? Discreetly, of course. Alright, I will. Tell me how I look. Well, Runo, what do you think? A little too discreet. I can't even see you. Oh my goodness, just look at these books. Yes, there are books about the judicial systems of all different Western nations. Even for someone like me, it would take at least 10 days to read all of these. Just 10 days? Oh, I was only joking, Runo. I thought it would be fun to play up my genius. It's scarily believable with you, that's the trouble. Those giant suits of armor are still facing each other menacingly across the room. I just can't understand why anybody would wear these things like that in battle. They must be so heavy. I expect you'd invent some special lightweight suit if it was down to you, wouldn't you, Iris? I think if it was me, I'd invent a world where people didn't need to fight each other in the first place. Iris, you're a champion. Well, what do you think? That was a model answer, wasn't it? She's 10, Ryonosuke. 10, and she's leading you around by the nose. I love clocks and their mechanisms, don't you? The way all the hundreds of pieces fit together and work as one to move the hands of a single timepiece. Yes, I can imagine the clocks are just your cup of tea. When I was little, I used to dream of one day living inside a clock, you know? Then you must be envious of the Lord Chief Justice having his office in a place like this, I suppose. No, not really. Oh. Well, I mean, that's a dream for when you're little. It would be silly now. Don't let Lord Strongheart hear you talking like that. Okay. Susato, what's all this about? Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan. Your life here can continue just as it... That's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving? It's my father. He's fallen ill. Oh no. Professor Mikotoba. If I may. Yes, sorry. You must be the defendant. Ryonosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Skip the flashback. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news. 10 days ago, Father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown, and it seems he's grown weaker day by day. I don't believe it. As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Susato's departure as much as possible. Yes, absolutely. I will leave London first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe this is happening. Plots to make way for Iris to be the new assistant. So Gina has been charged. She'll have to appear in court. Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow. No, not even 24 hours later. Gina? Ah, the Lestrade girl and the murderer of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. An all too transpicious case, the pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot the man in a panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is, without wasting time on these open and shut cases. It's not wasting time. Gideon would never do something like that. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Lord Strongheart. In defense of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave it now. Of course, Lord Strongheart. Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all these untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend. Serious matters. Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday. It's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. Oh, it will be a concern of mine, because that's how these plots work. It's gonna be all related. 3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me. There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart. Which is, it's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her. Why do you need Strongheart's permission? A timely suggestion. Sorry? The girl currently has no representation. But that's not fair. She may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial. Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. That comes up just now. I guess it's too poor. So, like, if it's McGilded, for example, he wouldn't be considered too poor, so they wouldn't give him an attorney. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork, and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right. Why would she do that? A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade. You'll find her at the local prison. Yes, thank you. Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you. What a day. Gina charged with murder, Susato-san about to leave. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie, you're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do? But as Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Susato. That's a very pensive look. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can. As a lawyer. Okay, they're all checked. I'm pretty sure they're all checked off. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to end it on this. Yeah, I have to end it on this. So I will save the game here. Save. Try to do this again. Save. Okay, I want to save in this slot. Enter. Yes. Okay.